Jin works at an information desk in a shopping center. Today is her 25th birthday, and her only wish is to have a boyfriend. She wants one so bad that whenever a handsome man approaches her, she has hearts in her eyes. But reality hits differently, and she realizes that her birthday wish might never come true. A beautiful woman appears at the information desk and asks Jin to give her directions to the jewelry department. Soon after, realizing she left an item at the counter, Jin rushes to find the customer in the shopping center. Not being able to find her, she goes back to the information desk, where the beautiful woman appears again. The woman wants to repay her for keeping her items safe. She asks Jin to tell her a wish, so she can repay her. Jin avoids the question and keeps her wish in her mind. The woman found out her wish just by looking at Jin. Jin is shocked when the woman guessed it correctly and points at 6 cards that magically appear in front of them. The woman gives a wink when things around Jin start to glitch. The woman disappears suddenly, and just then, a handsome man comes up to the information desk. He tells her that he knows she is getting off soon and will wait for her outside. She is confused and thinks to herself, "Is he talking to me? Is this a dream?" As he leaves, her friends ask her how she knows the most eligible bachelor in the nation. Jin, still confused about what just happened, gets off work and heads home like any normal day. The handsome man approaches her again and guides her to his car. She tells him that he mistook her for someone else, but when he says her full name, it becomes more of a reality. Still hesitant to get in the car, his warm smile and friendly manner make her curious about how they know each other. After arriving at his house, he tells her to come inside and join him for dinner. After sitting down, she feels nervous, as this is her first date with a man in her entire life. He laughs at her cute ways and they head outside after dinner. After sitting down, he tells her that he is nervous too. He reaches for a remote to turn on a projector. When Jin looks up, she sees pictures of her from when she was young. He asks her, "Do you remember this? We were on a group trip together." This is when Jin realizes it is her in the video, but all of her past memories have changed. She asks him if they have known each other for a long time. He confirms this fact and proceeds to tell her that he had feelings for her all this time. He tells her thank you for being with me on your birthday and hands her roses. He wanted to ask her out on her birthday many times but didn't have the courage till now. He finally confesses his feelings for her and leans in for a kiss. "Is this going to be my first kiss?" she thinks to herself. Once again, the things around Jin start to glitch, and while kissing the air, she returns to reality. She tries to understand what happened, and one of the cards from earlier reveals the handsome man she just met. Her friends interrupt her thoughts and ask her if she voted yet. She stares at her phone to see what they are talking about. Suddenly, another handsome man takes her phone away. He tells her that employees can't use their phones on duty and he will keep her phone in his office. Her friends explain to her that he is their boss, but Jin doesn't remember this new boss. Her friends tell her, "We know you voted for him as most handsome employee on your phone." She doesn't understand anything going on. Why does her past keep changing and a new attractive man appear in front of her? She goes to her boss's office to collect her phone. She tells him sorry for using her cell phone while on duty, and afterwards, he asks her if she is free tonight. She tells him that she doesn't have plans. He asks her if she wouldn't mind working more hours tonight with him. She doesn't want to upset her new boss, so she agrees to work overtime. He mentions that they should eat together before working, but she realizes that he works while eating too. She asks him if there is any work for her to do, but he continues working while she finishes her dinner. After they are done eating, he asks her if he can drive her home and heads towards the elevators. She tries to clean up before leaving the office and finds pictures of her on his desk. Pictures that were taken without her permission. She gets scared and tries to leave the building without her boss knowing. A shadow figure starts following her down the stairwell. She tries to take the elevator instead, but when the doors open, a weird man approaches her, telling her that he's been taking photos of her for a while. The pervert starts to get undressed, which scares Jin even more. Suddenly, Jin's boss comes from the stairwell and pins the pervert to the wall. Jin is relieved and her boss looks to see if she is okay. The pervert is escorted to a police car while screaming that Jin and him are in love. Her boss sits down with Jin and tells her those pictures were found in her locker this morning. He wanted to keep her safe, so he confiscated her phone, asked her to eat with him, and drive her home to prevent the pervert from coming near her. He asks her, "Is it okay if I drive you home every day? I saw that you voted for me on your phone today. Doesn't that mean we mutually like one another?" Or how about we start dating since we like each other? He smiles at her innocent reaction to his confession and leans in for a kiss. Her surroundings start to glitch and she returns to the information desk. The next card reveals the man she was with, and she understands now that when she kisses someone, she will return to her original spot. Just then, her actual boss comes up to her and gives her a letter, then leaves again. When she opens the letter, it says to keep the information safe and she pulls out a USB drive. She puts it in her purse and walks home that night when suddenly she gets pulled into a corner by a handsome man. He asks her for the USB drive and she hands it to him. When he goes to leave, a gun is raised to his head. Soo-jin sticks her hands up and comes next to him. The guy holding a gun says, "I knew there were traitors among us, but I couldn't have guessed they were two special agents. Now hand over the USB." The handsome man protects Soo-jin and starts fighting the men in the alleyway. When a gang member points his gun at the handsome man, Soo-jin kicks the gun out of his hands and proceeds to beat up other gang members. After finishing them off one by one, she comes to realize that somehow she is a skilled fighter. The man tells her, "I'm sorry for exposing your identity. Now let's go to the safe house together." He pulls her inside the safe house and from the look in his eyes, they must know each other. He apologizes for putting her in danger and turns to leave. He falls to the floor and Soo-jin runs over to find out he had been shot earlier. After dressing his injury, he inspects the USB information on a laptop. She tells him that she will leave, but he pulls her on the couch with him and asks her about her new life. She finds out that they used to work together and he was her team leader. "If I hadn't fallen in love with you, we might still be working together. I couldn't trust anyone at the agency with this information, and all I could think of is you. I'm sorry to put you in danger." He gets up and leaves the safe house and she runs after him, telling him to stay. He tells her, "Maybe it would be better if I stopped leaving you. I want to be next to you and protect you. What do you think? Let's do whatever it takes to be together." Then leans in for a kiss, taking her right back to her information desk once again. She gets frustrated. She hasn't kissed a man yet and she still doesn't have a boyfriend. What kind of wish is this? Her boss tells her to come over and be a translator for VIP guests. She thinks to herself, how can my boss ask me to be a translator? But when it came time for her to translate, she could easily speak another language. As she is walking home, she wonders what handsome man she will meet next. "Do you know how many times I called you?" the handsome man asked her. He implies that she used to be his language teacher, but he wants her to think of him differently now. "Let's go on our date," he says. He grabs her by the hand and they have fun together, taking pictures and visiting local shops in a nearby area. When it started raining, he shielded her with his jacket as they went to the next location to eat. She smiles at him while eating and hopes this moment will last longer than the last 3 men she met. "Teacher, is it okay if I stop calling you teacher now? I want us to be friendly with each other." She tells him no, even though she wants to say yes. She doesn't want another kiss to ruin everything. After eating, they come across people dancing in a courtyard, and he pulls Soo-jin to join them. The roles have become reversed. He is now teaching her how to dance and she is the student. Once she becomes comfortable with dancing, he slows down and tells her, "I want our relationship to change. I want to be closer to you. I hope you can stop thinking of me as your student. I'm sure you knew I liked you all this time." She tries to cover her lips so he won't kiss her, but he pulls her closer to him and slowly goes in for a kiss, once again, leading her to a reality that isn't as nice. She is sad that there are only a couple of men left. When her friends show up, they tell her that she can go on a date with her boyfriend now. Her new handsome boyfriend found her soon after, and they went on a shopping spree. He bought her anything her heart desired, and by the end of the day, she had every luxurious item every woman dreams about in her hands. She thinks to herself, this man is perfect in every way. I hope that this moment will last forever. When he is done with his phone call, he comes over and hands her bags to an assistant. He then grabs her hand and they start walking through the mall. He tells her that she is very important to him and he is someone that will inherit his father's business. It doesn't take long before this fantasy comes with extra baggage. Suddenly, an angry woman appears. She yells at Soo-jin's boyfriend, "We have been arranged to get married since birth. How could you go and date someone else?" The woman grabs a glass of water and throws it at Soo-jin. It was at this moment when Soo-jin felt like she was in a K-drama. If this wasn't bad enough, Now comes the rich heir's evil mother. She tells Soo-jin to break up with her son because she isn't fit to be with him. Another K-drama trope comes, the kimchi slap. But her boyfriend saves her from the embarrassment, and the assistant leaves, only to come back with more things to throw at Soo-jin. Her boyfriend tells his mother that he won't marry his arranged fiancée, that he loves Soo-jin and he will marry her instead. Angered by his decision, she picks up the seaweed to throw at Soo-jin. But during the struggle, the fiancé got hit with it instead. Soo-jin couldn't believe all this was happening in front of her eyes. This K-drama scene was something she didn't expect compared to the last few dates she had. The stress from the situation made his mom pass out and his fiancé and mom left the scene. Soo-jin turned to her boyfriend and told him that this type of relationship is not for her and that they should break up. She realizes the only way to get out of this situation is to kiss her boyfriend so she can go back to reality. But he stops her from doing so. He tells her he has a plan and that she should trust him. He makes a phone call to gather everyone for a press conference. In the next moment, Soo-jin is faced with flashing lights from many reporters asking questions to her boyfriend. Her boyfriend tells them that he will marry Soo-jin, even if it affects his inheritance of his father's company. When a reporter asks about Soo-jin, he tells them she is someone he can't live without, but he can live without his inheritance just to be with her. The reporters support his relationship with Soo-jin, and he grabs her hand to stand up. This moment being caught on camera and the whole nation watching, he tells her he loves her. She smiles at him, then he leans in for a kiss. She pushes him away, not wanting this moment to end. But unfortunately, it doesn't work. She picks up the card with her handsome potential fiancé on it, and she realizes that she only has one card left. Will this be her last chance at getting a boyfriend? She turns around excitedly, but is shocked to see a man asking her to come with him to another side of the shopping center. After following him, she sees a jealous-looking co-worker and boss cheering her on. Finally, she sees the last handsome man remaining from her granted wish, and he's perfect in every way. She smiles at him and he smiles back at her, but they are interrupted by a director explaining that they are to act out a scene together. The director is very strict with Soo-jin, but the handsome man tries to soothe the situation by telling the director that it is only natural to be nervous. Soo-jin goes to the set with the handsome man, and the director explains the scene that is being acted out, but Soo-jin is still very nervous. It is hard for her to even put one foot in front of the other, and the director gets frustrated with her. The handsome man tries to calm the director down and help Soo-jin out by shooting another scene that is less stressful, but she messes up again. Scene after scene, Soo-jin is still unable to act naturally in front of the camera and the director calls them over. The director says that Soo-jin will have to be switched with someone else, and the handsome man asks Soo-jin to take a break with him. During the break, he hands her a coffee and tells her that they should get to know each other. She realizes that this is her last chance and she needs to make sure they don't kiss. If we could get to know each other, it will help us feel comfortable. What do you mean? She says. He leans in closer to show her what he means. Wanting this moment to last, she tells him absolutely no kissing, which surprises him. He laughs it off and she explains that she is in a situation where she has to tell him this. He asks her if she feels more comfortable around him now that they had a talk, and she agrees to go back on set with him to try shooting the scenes again. This time around, the director is in shock at how great they are together. After shooting all the scenes perfectly, the director calls them over and tells them they did a great job. So much so that he asks the handsome man if they can add another scene with Soo-jin. The handsome man thinks a little bit before making a decision, but eventually says yes to the director. The director tells everyone to get ready for the kissing scene, and Soo-jin tells him that we can do a kissing scene without touching our lips together. But the handsome man disagrees with her, and they are told to relocate to the shooting location. During the kiss scene, she tells him that they don't have to kiss, they can pretend to do so. He smiles at her and leans in for the last remaining kiss from all the handsome men she encountered and ends up back where she started once again. She lets out a sigh and looks down to see the last handsome man she met on the last card. She can't believe her wish is over. Her co-worker asks Soo-jin, who doesn't have a boyfriend, to cover her shift. But Soo-jin gets mad, telling her that she has 6 boyfriends to date, so stop asking to cover another shift. Soo-jin goes to a quiet place and tells herself that at least she got to experience what it feels like to date someone, and she should be happy. Just then, the beautiful woman who granted her wish appears. She tells Soo-jin to pick one of the men she met, and she will send her back to the moment they kissed. Soo-jin asks, "I can only choose one," and the woman confirms Soo-jin's question. This is one of the hardest decisions she has ever had to make. They were all wonderful. So how can she narrow it down to only one to be with? She doesn't want to regret her decision either. She goes back to the information desk and is delighted in her thoughts about who to choose out of the 6 men that she met. Even her boss praises her for her positive attitude. Her coworkers ask her, "Did anything good happen to you?" She tells them it's nothing. And soon after, another surprise happens to Sujin. Another handsome man approaches the information desk. Except this time, there were no more cards left. Her coworkers came over and asked him for his signature on the travel book he had written recently. Sujin thought perhaps her wish was not yet over, and this handsome man was in love with her too, just like the others. He told her this was the first time they had ever met. "Are you sure?" she insists. "We probably know each other. Or maybe you are thinking to ask me out on a date, right?" He says that he approached her because it's her job to answer questions, but she is still delusional from her previous dates, and her co-workers apologize for her abnormal behavior. She continues, "Would you like my phone number? You will ask for it anyway." Still confused, the handsome man tells Sujin that there is a misunderstanding. She snaps back into reality and feels the embarrassment settling in. While his questions are being answered by her coworkers, she picks up his book and reads it throughout the day. She enjoyed the book so much, it didn't take long before the last page was turned. Suddenly, she heard someone say, "Excuse me," from behind her. When he walks up to her, she immediately apologizes for what happened earlier. "I mistook you for someone else, and I finished reading your book." She tells him she has been on a journey recently too, and the book resonated with her a lot. "I'm glad the message of my book was conveyed to you. That makes me happy. I forgot to ask, why did you call out for me?" He hands her a card that she accidentally dropped on the floor, revealing the handsome man in front of her. Finally, her wish was granted. No backstory, no drama, no kiss. Just two people who met and started liking each other. The end.